What's up, ladies and gents, Noli here, and welcome to another Payday 2 video. Today, we are finally taking a look at day 1 of Hoxton's Housewarming Party, the massive series of 10 days worth of updates we've been looking forward to for a very long time, mirroring Crimefest we've seen in the past. And let me tell you, from what we're seeing so far, this one will not disappoint. The presentation and the content we are receiving, as well as the way they are looking for community feedback and trying to sort of play through the updates themselves, has been phenomenal. Overkill is, I believe, still streaming even now the brand new content they have just released on the 7th of October. And that's exactly what we wanted from Overkill. I think that's the main thing I asked for when we made sort of complaint videos about the microtransactions. I didn't necessarily have a problem with the fact that it had been added, because I think any company could have made that mistake. But the problem was the company made the mistake and then didn't ask the questions, until a couple of months in. Overkill aren't getting that wrong this time. Instead, they're bringing us really awesome mini little comic strips, as you see right now. Over the next 10 days, this is going to be my primary focus, I think, showing off the general content being released to you guys so you guys feel informed. You know, news has always been a massive part of my channel, alongside the maths, which got me started. So that will be the primary thing I'm covering. And then once the 10 days is finished and I have more time to go into greater depth as far as the updates is concerned, especially the update that's been released today, this one's a real interesting one. That's when those videos are going to start to come out. So yeah, the difficulty update has really impressed me. Let's have a quick run through of the comic. 7 p.m, lots of notorious criminals are converging on Washington, but Commissioner Garrett is not happy about the DHS meddling on his turf. This is Henry Carter at the DHS. Our informer network's gone wild. Seems all the bad guys are traveling to Washington this week. We think the Payday gang is involved. Something big is going down. We're putting the Force Z, I should say, on alert. Force Z? What the hell is that? It's our top secret strike force for emergencies, last resort only. Listen, the DHS should stay out of this. We can handle it. So, the Z Force is a brand new force which is integral to one of the new difficulties we're getting. So we're getting not necessarily new enemy types, but new enemy aesthetics, which is really cool if you guys fancy trying it out. And as I said, Overkill are desperate for feedback. So in the top right corner, as you can see up there, we have a rate this day option. It'll bring you to a simple straw pile and you can vote away. And right now, I think the entire community agrees day 1 has been pretty impressive. I think most votes are 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. Also nice to notice that Commissioner Garrett's rocking the Kawhi bobblehead down there, man after my own heart. Moving on down, we actually have a little more information about what this comic up top is teasing. These are the 2 new difficulties. Mayhem surprised me. I thought it was going to be more like the tournament mode we've seen in the past. I actually thought Mayhem could have been a crazy new difficulty, but instead it's actually probably a more sensible thing for Overkill to add. It's time to provide you with some new challenges. We're adding 2 new difficulties to the game that will make you fight harder for a bigger payday. We're also tweaking the existing difficulties, making it more balanced. As an added feature, bulldozers can't be stunned in any difficulty. This is an interesting one. Also, the bulldozer can now rush. I think this is probably a good shout. They added a lot of stunning mechanics to the game, which made bulldozers at times trivial, I think is fair to say, and those changes they have made are going to make the bulldozers more exciting to fight, and also, of course, more difficult to fight, and more of a problem on every single difficulty in which they will appear. So Mayhem is for those who think that Overkill is a bit on the easy side, but feel that Deathwish is a bit tough. This is another great example of Overkill paying attention to the information their community has been giving them. I'm excited about this difficulty for a couple of reasons. I think it's going to be the perfect test difficulty. There are some builds which, let's face it, they just don't cut it on Deathwish, and so to test those builds out, you have to go through a lot of pain to get your answers. Now, if you have a difficulty that's a step down from Deathwish, but is still harder than Overkill and shows a general viability of it, it's going to be a perfect battleground for that, and I think it's going to be a really fun place to try out some of the more wacky builds I've come up with, you know, things like the melee builds we've tried out that demolish Overkill, but you just die too quickly on Deathwish. So this change is a really welcome one, and of course it comes with a brand new set of achievements as well. And you will not find the Z Force or Force Z anywhere around this difficulty. However, on the 1 down difficulty, things are seriously harder. 1 down is the toughest there is, tougher of course than Deathwish. You can only be downed once. one more after that, and you'll go directly into custody. So it's exactly what it says on the tin. I speculated about it in my previous video. It is, you do have one chance to go down, and that's your lot. The one down units are the DHS Special Task Force, the Zeal Team, which is what the Z Force stands for. We're going to make you fight for your payday, we promise. So the rewards from this, I hope, will be absolutely insane. We have these really cool enemy designs, which actually makes use of some in-game masks and patterns, which I really, really like. They're not going to be new enemies by any stretch of the imagination, but they are going to be carrying a brand new aesthetic, and I think that's really cool. I think it's a shame you're going to have to play the hardest difficulty in the game in order to try them out. You know, I feel like they could appear in Mayhem or Death, or I suppose Deathwish would make a fair bit of sense, potentially. Of course, Deathwish brought in the Skulldozer, so it would seem like a shame to lose that. But my problem is, one down is going to be such a tough mode. Not everyone is going to get any great use out of these new sort of enemy aesthetics. So that's a shame, but I do think this difficulty is going to be fantastic, and I think there's a lot of you out there that will get a lot of time from playing this particular difficulty. I can think of a fair few other YouTubers out there that are clearly not challenged enough by Deathwish, and this is exactly what they need. So pretty awesome. Of course, you can download these wallpapers you see down here. This one I am a massive fan of. These new difficulties, I think, show a massive willingness by Overkill to listen to the community, which was one of my biggest worries coming into this large set of updates. They've had a tendency in the past to just sort of go off in a direction which was maybe not what we were after, and that's not what they're doing this time. They're adding a greater value in terms of replayability in the game, 2 new difficulties. That's massive. You know, most games will never see something quite like that. Fallout 4 got 1 new one, everyone went crazy. Payday gets 2. This is excellent. Really pleased by it all. Some little tweaks in the general game difficulty as well, especially surrounding bulldozers. As I said, day 1, phenomenal. I really like the presentation, and I think Overkill's doing a fantastic job of being responsive, and that's what's most important. Guys, stay tuned for day 2, and again, there will be videos showing out both Mayhem and 1 down difficulty coming out very soon for you. I'm going to be traveling around a little bit this weekend, which might make making the videos very difficult, but I really want to cover every day's content, especially tomorrow's, because that's when we're seeing the brand new safe house. I hope to see you all then.